What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man. Yes, I'm back at it again, and this is New Amsterdam, Season 2, Episode 1 discussion slash review. Now, this episode, start to finish, messed with my mind. I was, from the teaser that we had seen and everything, there was like 3 women in his life, and one of them was going to die, but, they weren't going to be there, or something like that. I don't want to come off mean or rude or just like a monster, but I wanted it to be Georgia. I know that's wrong because she's Luna's mother, but she just didn't push the story together to me at all. And her and Max working on their relationship was a good thing, and it just never really bumped the story together at all to me. But throughout this whole episode, they mess with my mind so much. One moment I'm thinking it's Georgia, the next I'm thinking it's Sharpe, then I'm thinking it's Bloom. So they mess with me completely throughout this whole episode about who was actually dead. Now, oh man, I was so confused throughout the whole episode. Let's go because I'm gonna ramble if not. So it starts right after season 1 ended, man. They show the wreck and everything that led up to the wreck, and then the wreck happens. Then they jump smack dab 3 months later. Now, when that happened and they showed Georgia in the bed and Max went and got Luna and everything, and every time he said, "Every time's my time," I thought Georgia was just on bed rest and she was resting, and Max was doing more because he just had to do more. But that wasn't the case. Georgia was actually dead the whole time, and all of this was just in Max's head and us just seeing what he wished was true. That is deep, man. And the funny thing is, because at the beginning of the episode, we actually saw Georgia touching and holding Luna, and that's what made it seem so realistic, because at that moment I was like, okay, so Georgia's alive. Okay. I wasn't too happy, but I was okay with it. But so I was like, so it's either Sharpe or Bloom. And then they teased this whole episode pretty much that we didn't see Sharpe or Bloom. At one, they never really discussed Bloom, like anybody in the present talking wise. But every time he was like, "Is Sharpe back? Is Sharpe back?" No, that Sharpe's not back. I mean, where's Sharpe? I mean, where's Sharpe? She's not here. Where's Sharpe? And then when we saw Max at the hospital after he took Luna to the nursery, and he was talking to Iggy and everything, we see Sharpe's office. They show a panel with her office and her nameplate, and we zoom in and go into her office, and it's Dr. Castro talking to Max about his chemo. And first of all, another surprise, Max's chemo is pretty much in remission, and he's pretty much doing completely better from the new chemo treatment and everything, like the precision chemo. So that's kudos to that, and I'm glad Max is healthy again. But and at that point, you would think Sharpe is the one that's dead. So then we get more entwined to this crazy story, because then we get flashbacks, and we see and throughout the flashbacks we see everything. We see Max looking for Georgia, then we see Georgia in the hospital room. We see Max looking for Sharpe, then we see Sharpe in the hospital room with her arm, I think it was dislocated. Then we see Bloom in the hospital room, and let's be real, Bloom was the only one they showed in the flashbacks. Excuse me. In the flashbacks, that was actually pretty much dead until we got towards the end, and we saw Georgia's flashback where she finally died because what's the dude's name? The other doctor that's a neurosurgeon. I don't want to say he killed her, but he didn't help her. Let's put it like that. But at the same time, that's why when Max bumped into him, and I'm going all over the place. I know I am. And that's when Max bumped into him in the hallway. That's why he was so pissed off and didn't want to talk to him. And he was like, "Max, you have to talk to me eventually." Yeah, but not today. So that's why, because Max, I don't know if he really blames him, but he's looking at the fact of that he didn't save Georgia. So man, there was so many times that we never saw Sharpe, man. But now, what took the cake for me was this episode was when we saw Max and Sharpe on screen and on camera together. Their relationship and their dynamic has completely changed. It's not the same as it was in season one, and even towards the end of season one, where it was like, will they, won't they type thing. Their dynamic has completely changed. But then we get a wonderful surprise, and we find out that Bloom is alive as well. And I'm sad that Georgia's dead for Max and Luna, but as for me as a watcher of the show, and I enjoy it so much, I love the fact that Sharpe is alive and Bloom is alive, because they're great characters, and I'm glad that Bloom wants to be continuing being a doctor. And dude, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but then let's talk about the fact of, you guys, when they had her on the hospital bed, and like she died for like a second. Did you see her leg? Her leg was like all like this, all on her, just bent. Look at, you see how, look at that. That's her leg. That's crazy how her leg was. And now she's like has one of the casts on it, like the removable cast, and she's walking around, and she's in excruciating pain. And then we see her and Sharpe, this is towards the end, and we see her and Sharpe having a moment, kind of reconnecting. And I love that, because you remember last season they had a major falling out, but they reconciled towards the end of last season as well, and kind of patched things up a little bit, because it wasn't perfect, but now they kind of meshed together again, and I love that. Then we have Dr. Floyd Reynolds, and his whole thing, like he was he was talking to his fiance girlfriend type thing, and every time he tried to, like, she was in away on business and for work, and every time he was trying to get like a little sexy quick thing, and everybody kept interrupting him, and I'm trying to have a moment. And that was fun. I love that as well. Then we have Max also advocating for the people that's on insulin, because Big Pharma and everyone else are jacking up the prices, and you know that's what Max does. He's the hero. There was a lot of great moments, man. But then we also have Dr. Castro pretty much blackmailing Dr. Sharpe to not treat Max anymore if Sharpe doesn't make her co-chair of the oncology department. This season, man, this is episode 1. And tell me that you didn't feel some type of way about everything, man. Then we have Dr. Kapoor trying to find his place, because he's a little older, and him and Max was having a discussion about keeping older doctors on, and that was kind of but this episode, they kind of redeemed him towards the end, and I love that. Then we have Iggy having some kind of not so much as major problems, but problems with his household, kind of like dividing work and home, and he wants to adopt more kids. They have like 3 or 4 kids now, and he wants to adopt another kid. But Iggy shined in this episode, man. He gave a homeless person that was struggling and didn't have any shoes or anything, their feet were just bombarded with bruises and blisters and everything. He gave them his shoes. So I always love seeing Iggy, because Iggy, well, everybody really cares, and I love that about New Amsterdam. But you know, Iggy always goes that extra mile, him and Max, for sure, man. Everybody else does their own part as well to connect with everything, and I love that, and that's what I love about New Amsterdam. And this episode was absolutely fantastic, man. I loved everything. I know I kind of skipped a lot of stuff. I just really want to touch on it because it was too great not to talk about, man. But this is your boy Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash that like button till you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them, and subscribe. But only if you really want to, man. Peace out.